What is up, Sopranos fans? Kino here, and I'm back with another Soprano log. Season 1, Episode 10, A Hit is a Hit, which is a play on words on a mafia hit, and of course a popular song on the radio, which is featured heavily in this episode. So the episode opens with the guys pull this heist on these Colombian drug dealers. They steal a lot of money from them. I've noticed that this is the first time that they've ripped off Colombians, but they'll rip off Colombians again and get a lot of money in the season 6 episode Mayhem when Paulie steals money from the Colombians. So they get a bunch of money from these guys. They're flush, and Christopher and Adriana go out to celebrate. They go see a show, and afterwards they run into this rapper named Massive Genius, who invites them to come over to his mansion. He's, really into mafia stuff, so he wants to talk to Christopher, and he wants Christopher to arrange a meeting with Hesh. Now, the reason for that is because Hesh was the producer for this black artist back in the day, but Massive Genius feels that the royalties from the song were not distributed fairly. It mostly went to Hesh, and he wants that money in the form of reparations to go to the guy's mother, who is his aunt. So Christopher arranges a sit down, and because of that, he now has a connection to Massive Genius, and he uses that to get Adriana involved as a music producer. She knows this band. She used to date the lead singer, and they're going to, kind of fund this band and try to make a little money that way, using Massive Genius's support. Christopher leaves it to Adriana to kind of run the thing. She wants to be empowered and start doing stuff, but he kind of takes over when the band starts disappointing them. The recording session's not going well. It's wasting Christopher's money, and he ends up hitting the guy with a guitar. And so, Christopher pretty much takes over. That makes Adriana really mad. Chris shows the demo tape to Hesh, who's obviously a big-time music producer. And Hesh doesn't like it. He says that, they don't have charisma or any of the other stuff that his previous artists had. He mentions that he met Jimi Hendrix really early on in his career. So he might have been involved with Hendrix. But basically says this band sucks. And then Christopher realizes that Massive Genius is only supporting them because he wants to bang Adriana. And when Chris tells Adriana this, she gets pissed and storms off. In terms of the reparations, Hesh debates, internally, whether or not to give it. But at the end, he decides to not pay it. And when Massive threatens to sue Hesh, Hesh countersues him because Massive used a sample of a song that Hesh owns the copyright to. So it ends in kind of a legal battle. Kind of a weird little subplot, to be honest. It's never brought up again, but that is what's happening in this episode. And the other thing that's happening is Tony is trying to spark a friendship with Doc Cusimano, his next door neighbor. He buys Cusimano these Cuban cigars as a thank you for recommending Melfi, because he really likes how the therapy is going. Cusimano invites Tony to hang out with his, rich white friends, barbecue together and talk. It becomes clear, though, that they're really only interested in Tony because he's in the mob and they're fascinated with him. It's really cringe, to be honest. They're obsessing and talking about things like they're involved and they know what they're doing. I describe them kind of like mafia weebs. They're just fanboys and total lack of self-awareness that this is inappropriate to talk to Tony about. But Tony wants to join them at the golf club that they're a part of, but Cusimano tells him that the books are closed. Funny, it's kind of a parallel between the books being closed on becoming a made man, and Tony's excluded in this time. So Tony realizes that he's being used. He tells this story about this guy who him and his friends used to make fun of and only bring around to laugh at, and then Tony feels that way with Cusimano. He feels like a dancing bear used for other people's entertainment, which is not a good feeling. He decides to get back at Cusimano by he gets this package filled with sand, and he gives it to Cusimano and asks him to hold on to it for him. And Kuzumono obviously thinks, what anyone would think, that this is drugs or a weapon, and they're freaking out. They don't know what's going on. And then Tony's just doing it to have a laugh, to get back at Kuzumono for using him like that. But yeah, a weird kind of episode. I gotta say, the Massive Genius plot felt kind of out of nowhere. It didn't really tie that well into what's happening. And yeah, it's just an interesting episode, but not one of the more memorable ones. But we're gearing up here to get into some of the really intense stuff in this season, so stay tuned for the next Soprano log where we're gonna explore that. Thanks.